14126. The era of the inflection point. Our attitude as we approach Chilseok. 2_2.
So then, if until now it's been an era of research that gave us the growth period, what do we do from here? If the answer to the world has now emerged, we move into an era of organizing it. This person clearly gave a directive to the Jungbub family. What directive? Everyone, write 3 or more books. Writing 3 or more books means leaving your name behind in this world. What did I say a person should leave behind? A name. And an animal. A hide. A name gets left behind only once we have a body of work. That's how a name is left. From now on, write books. Even if not urgently needed right now, write the books that reflect your own discernment. Under your own name. This is what it means to become a person. This is where a person begins leaving a name behind. So among us too, we who study Jungbub, who study right character, who study to become Hongik, write 3 or more books, starting now. Some of you will go on to write 1,000 books, 10,000 books. But no matter how little you manage, write at least 3. Once you publish a book, you rise from where you were to a whole new level, the quality of your thinking, your way of seeing society, you grow without even realizing it. If I want to move forward in this world, simply putting my face out there won't work anymore. Until now, society recognized the people whose names drove society forward, but from now on, you won't be recognized that way. Even entertainers are going to have an extremely hard time going forward. In the world to come, if you want the world to recognize you, you need a body of work, a real work. Now is when real works actually emerge. If someone who puts out a work in this era gets it to land with society, you become someone who shines and is deeply respected. It has to become an era where people are respected. It must not become an era where people are dismissed. And that has to start with the people of South Korea. Starting with the root people, starting with those who carry pride as heavenly descendants, starting with those called Hongik leaders, you must leave a name behind. This is the inflection point. Now, there have of course been people in the past who left a name behind by writing books, right? From now on, once name-leaving begins, once a wave of book writers starts flowing, everything from the past sinks down. As we live joyfully and shine, as we begin to be respected, all the great figures of the past sink down into the ground and go underground too. That's what it means for our era to open up. Our era won't open unless we make the effort ourselves. That is the order being set in place right now. So is writing 3 books just about the power of 3 books alone? No, it's the power that lifts up my own capability. That's why we don't hide what we study in Jungbub as if it were our private content. The reason we release all of it publicly is so that, from within it, you can pick out what you want to work with and write your own book. That's why it's being given out now. The time for that has come. And then you might think, but even if I write a book, it won't sell. Was it ever going to sell right from the start? At first, it won't sell, but you're already building content and an environment under your own name. Whether you write it well or poorly, just write it, that's the point. Once you write, guidance will come from there, and more guidance will come from there. As soon as the quality starts to rise even a little, society will be made to notice it. It will all be arranged to happen that way. So once we've built this up to a certain degree, the master will rise into the world. I will rise into the world of humanity. Not just within this country. I am someone who has come out as a teacher for humanity. It will begin soon. Once it begins, I will rise into humanity's awareness within 3 years. Where does the first step of what I start go? Onto mass media. Will it be Korean broadcasting? If Korean broadcasting turns out to be too small a stage, I'll go on to world broadcasting. And on world broadcasting too, I'll start from the very top networks. From there I'll rise, and every broadcaster in the world will pick this up and want to use it themselves. Why? Because it resolves what humanity needs. That's why I'll go onto humanity's broadcasts and do this. It starts from the day I appear on broadcast. From the day I appear and step onto that stage, within 3 years I'll rise as the top maker in the world, so don't worry. Now the time has inevitably come for this person to step out into the world. I have now inspected the entire world, walked and observed all of it in my travels, so the time has come to step out into the world. That time is 2025, 26, 27. So within the coming year, my name will probably start rising in the world. This is the period when this inflection point occurs. Because I came to open up the future, I will now make my appearance in the world. And once I appear, if it turns out to genuinely help human society, humanity will rise up in response. But if what I say when I step forward turns out to be nonsense, humanity simply won't look my way. Now, the world is set up to change depending on who comes and what they say. An era capable of tremendously rapid change is about to arise starting now. That's why this is called the cutting-edge era. Technology will go cutting-edge too. Flying cars, for instance, that counts as cutting-edge, right? That era is coming. It's coming soon now. Only a few years left. Flying cars. It's not just airplanes flying anymore now. We're about to meet that era very soon. Since there isn't much time left, you might ask, you mean tomorrow or the day after? No, not quite that soon, but things will change in 3 years, change again in another 3 years, change again in another 3, and within 10 years, cars will fly. Flying over the ocean, flying over land, flying over mountains. All of this is right now in the final stages of preparing to take off. The technology is already there. It's the finishing touches that are holding things up right now. And if you want to live a healthy life, someone who lives well is allowed to live healthily. But if it looks like you can't live as a human being ought to, it's better to die quickly. If you're not going to live as a human being should, if you're going to live abjectly, you're better off dead. Why? Because if I live abjectly, I'm bound to die anyway. And if you're bound to die, what does that become? You become a lesson, fertilizer for the people who come after. So what happens to someone who lives as a human being should? What we call living out one's full heavenly given lifespan means living a healthy life of 100 years. From now on, the world is going to make that happen, a healthy 100-year life. People who live respected are also going to have their income sources change going forward. What happens when that income source changes for people like this? If you say, I just want 10 more years of life, there will be a company that extends it by 10 years. Places called hospitals, for example, are going to change from here on. I want to live a bit longer, about 10 more years. Give me an estimate for that, and they'll pull it right up for you. For people who live respected, that economy turns. And it won't even be that expensive. Simply being respected to a certain degree is enough for that economic flow to come to a person. Since these are people who are respected, a path must be open for them to live longer, to live more, to live even more radiantly within the society. It'll all be taken care of, so there's no need to worry. But as for me, if you're not living in an environment where you're respected for the sake of society, and you're just trying to rake in money for its own sake, I will sweep it all away from you. I've already been saying this for about 15 years now. What did I say? That the grain and the husk would be separated out completely, that people who acted like husks while holding on to lots of money and lots of houses would be made to give it all up, that it would all be collected. I said that if living like a husk and disrupting the society is, from nature's point of view, something that has to be corrected, then your factories will all be shut down, you won't even be allowed to run a small business, and everyone, husk and grain alike, will be sorted out and reassembled from scratch. I've been saying this for 15 years now. What's happening right now? That exact thing is happening right now. This is the inflection point where it's occurring. Land you've been needlessly clutching as property, you have to give up all of that property. Why? Because whose property is it really? It belongs to humanity, it belongs to the society, it belongs to all of us. Anyone who greedily claims it as their own will have it all taken away, and no matter how much you curse about the way it's being taken, yours will be taken. This is what's happening. Meanwhile, someone who lives doing things worthy of the society's respect will be given even what they lack. Isn't that a fair world? Change your concept of what fair means in society. It's fair that people who make an effort for the sake of society should live well. It's fair that someone who lives like an animal should have a hard life. This is what's called social democracy. People who make an effort for society must have their lives improved significantly and must be respected by the citizens, by the people. I won't go so far as to say revered yet. It's not time for reverence yet. But they must be respected. Business owners must be respected by this society. Those who own large companies must be respected within my boundary. If you fail to earn that and instead keep acting like you're so great, I will let your company collapse too. No matter how large the company, It will fail, and no matter how high quality you claim your nation to be, it too will fail, so there's nothing to worry about. This is what's called Heaven's Construction Project, the Chanji Gongsa, great work of heaven and earth. Whoever plays the role of the lion in carrying this out, God is the one who selects and directs all of it. At this time, when this inflection point is occurring, for those of us in South Korea who gather to study and make the effort to build character education, even if it's hard, shouldn't we be living lives worthy of respect in this society? To be respected, don't forget this, the Hangik Sehengdo, the fourfold practice of Hangik. 1. What must I do for my neighbors? 2. What must I do for society? 3. What must I do for the nation? 4. What must I do for humanity? Now memorize this. When you wake up in the morning and wash your face, there's no need to go pray to some god at a shrine. This is something spoken to nature itself. Just declare it, offer it up plainly. Stop the business of begging, that's over now. Offer it up plainly, and recite this fourfold practice at least once a day. Try practicing it for even 100 days. Do it right there in your own home, on the floor, looking out at the veranda. Recite it just like that, and if your family beside you says, "What on earth are you doing?" recite it anyway, whatever they say, until you have it memorized. I intend to live this way. I am making the effort right now to find what I must do, and I intend to live this way. Say it proudly, I'm telling you. This is the Hangik Sehengdo. Since we are Hangik Ingen, you must not let go of this now. This will spread throughout South Korea, and if I, within my own household, with my grandchildren and children present, simply do this for 100 days, our children will end up memorizing all of it too. And our grandchildren will be the first to follow along, grandsons and granddaughters coming to join in right beside you. That's how a household comes together. Don't try to teach anything directly. Just have them follow what you do. Because our little ones are pure from the start, they end up loving it and following along on their own. This is how blessing enters, how fortune comes into this household, how whatever hardship I have gets resolved, how whatever illness is in my body gets better. Do this. This might seem like nothing much, just this person, a non-celebrity, talking, but this is a signal that resonates through the universe, that gladdens God. Simply by making the effort to do this, punishment will not come upon you. I raised all of you to be Hangik Ingen leaders, yet right now what I'm doing doesn't show a single trace of being a Hangik Ingen leader. Don't be ashamed of it. If I'm diligently doing this for 100 days and my husband dislikes me for it, cut it off. Leave. I've said this clearly. You're allowed to say, this is someone destroying the family. If I'm doing this and my wife dislikes it, then it's time for you two to part ways. It will naturally be arranged that way. If a Hangik Ingen fails to bring the spirit to life, they cannot wield the energy of humanity. Wisdom will not come forth in you. Even just 100 days, starting this July, people who do this boldly for 100 days need to step forward. I want to do it, but Master, it's because of my husband. You are still far from receiving blessing. No matter what your husband says, if I've found what is right, I have to be someone who acts on it with a clear conscience. Have courage and start now. If you don't do that, I can't help you. Only when even a single word of mine carries this energy does the world actually change. Even if no one else recognizes it, the energy I pour out correctly right here is entering into nature. Only by doing this do we avoid being dragged around by circumstance, and become someone who holds their own agency. Whoever you are, starting today, declare boldly, I will practice the Hangik Sehengdo for 100 days. In the morning, the very first thing after brushing your teeth and washing your face, whether you put on makeup afterward or not, do it first. It's fine if you do it with full formal ritual, or if instead you decide to purify yourself first, without putting on makeup, going as far as lotion or basic skin toner is fine, and then, right after that, do it once and only after that, groom yourself. Starting now, let's treat this, even just 100 days, as our homework. What should I call it? If I call it a decree, people will call it dictatorship. But to you, our Hangik Ingen leaders, our heavenly descendants, I am issuing this order.